It's episode 1039, and it's the Relevant Podcast. Here in Orlando, I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, is Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Nashville, Tennessee, downtown Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
And from Austin, Texas, author, speaker, podcaster, Jamie Ivey.
Hey, guys.
We missed you the last couple episodes.
I know. I don't even know where I was, but I missed you guys too. And here I'm back.
I should mention Derek is out for today's show. So Emily's sitting in for him. And on the next show, Derek will still be out, and we have a very special guest sitting in.
Surprise, though, right?
Surprise. So you guys need to tune in for the next show. So it's February 3rd. We made it through the longest month in human history.
It was the longest month in human history.
Was January long for any of you guys? That was crazy.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you why January was long. Number one, wasn't it like 5 weeks? I mean, it was just like, this is the longest month we've ever had. So here's why it was long for me. Dry January. I made it. Thank you, guys. Whole 30. New budget at the Ivy House. I wrote a book. Well, I finished a book. And there was something else. It was just the longest month ever. I'm so happy to see February.
Can I be honest? I think it was the longest month ever for you because you jam-packed it with the most unfun things I can think of.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
I read 83 books. I sat and stared at a wall every night for 4 hours.
I did a diet where you deprive yourself of anything good.
Yeah.
But I made it, so I'm happy. But anyhow, it was
I counted every blade of grass in my yard.
Yeah, it did feel, it felt like it stretched on for a bit, you know?
I don't know. So I am in this weird flow right now where I'm working and we're doing a lot of stuff, and I look up and it's an hour past dinner time. Like, I thought it was 2:30 in the afternoon. What just happened to today? To me, the work days have been flying by. So I don't know maybe it is because you've been depriving yourself of so much stuff that you've been more aware of the
maybe and
drudgery.
You know, it's just dark. It's winter. It's just literally like, come on, spring. Come on, we're ready for you.
I've done diets like the Whole 30, and I feel like because the Whole 30, for people who don't know, it's basically like very clean eating for 30 straight days,
right.
where there's a high degree of self-limitations that you must impose in order for this diet to work, including if you're like eating out at places. Do you think it stretched on for you just because, like, I feel like days fly by when you have little milestones, like, oh, I'm going to have tacos at lunchtime.
Right.
Or, you know what? I'm going to go I'm a grazer, like if almost out of boredom, I'll just go find a little snack from the snack bin.
Or snacky.
Or at night, have some chips and salsa or something. Do you think that without those little daily milestones, that's what made it stretch on for you?
Maybe.
No question.
Maybe.
No
Although
question.
I will say that I don't want to be too spiritual here, but listen, it was more about my heart than it was the food, you guys. Okay. So I was just like, December was a month where I let myself do whatever I wanted. And so God was like, hey, how about in January, you act like an adult? And so here I am. I adulted for the month of January is what happened over here, you guys. And I felt better.
Are you going to adult in February? Or are you going to maybe
go
not
back.
be as much of an adult?
I'm going to do a hybrid. I'm going to do a hybrid between adulting and do whatever
crazy
you want.
idea.
She's going to young adult. She's going to young adult in February.
I'm going to be 20 again, you guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to try this crazy idea in February. I guess people are calling it moderation. I don't know.
Who would have thought? Who would have
Give
thought?
it a shot.
Exactly.
Well, we have a great show in store for you today. Coming up later, we talk to Brian Johnson from Bethel. Don't miss that. Also, we have your feedback at the end of the show. But stay tuned right now. Coming up next, it's a very science-y Relevant Buzz.
It feels like I've been silent running through the infinite pages. I scroll out, searching for a new world. Waits on the sunrise. I'm silent running, running. I've been back to you, back to you. Silent running.
You're listening to Gorillaz and Adelaide Omateo. The song is Silent Running. Well, this episode is brought to you in part by the Faith and Sports Institute at Baylor University's Truett Seminary. The Faith and Sports Institute is a place where Christian leaders in sports are formed and equipped through theological education, practical training, and thoughtful resources. They offer a graduate degree program, continuing education classes, intensive retreats, and more. To learn more and grow with the Faith and Sports Institute, visit baylor.edu/truett, TRUETT/FSI. That stands for Faith and Sports Institute. Again, that's baylor.edu/truett/FSI. Think deep, lead strong, and run the race well with the Faith and Sports Institute today. All right. Telling us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture this week. Take it away, Emily.
All right. I want to start off talking about just a wild story. Have y'all heard about this de-extinction company that is trying to bring back the dodo bird?
The what?
I have.
The dodo
The
bird.
dodo bird?
Yeah,
Okay.
the famously extinct dodo bird.
Yeah.
But they're also working on some other animals too.
Like woolly mammoth. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Woolly mammoth, Tasmanian tiger. Yes. So Colossal Biosciences is a de-extinction company, and they have just this list of animals that they're hoping to fully bring back to life. And this week they added the dodo bird to it. So like we said, they're already working on the woolly mammoth and the Tasmanian tiger, but let's throw another one in there. Let's throw in a dodo bird.
Didn't they get a $150 million grant specifically to bring back the dodo bird?
Wow.
That is a very rich person.
That was
eccentric,
okay.
Someone
that
really
was
wants a few
dodo bird
problems
back.
with this, but go ahead, Jesse. I want to hear.
I was going to say that was my primary question when I saw this like floating in the ether. Is like, what is the business model here? Because like, we know the fictionalized version was like, hey, we'll bring prehistoric animals back to life, but we have to monetize it, so we'll put them in a park, right? And we'll let people come visit. Like, that was the entire motivation for the scientists in Jurassic Park. But like, I understand, like, even if this technology exists, obviously it's incredibly expensive. But what is the business model? What is their motivation for doing this?
It's science.
It's just science.
To see what science can do. They get grants and stuff.
Are they the only de-extinction company? That's just that's a weird name to me. Hello, what do you do? I de-extinct things. What? I'm sorry. Can you explain that
The
to me?
de-extinctor.
I play God.
Exactly. Yeah.
It sounds like a 90s action movie, The De-extinctor.
That is a good title, though. Like, yeah, I de-extinct things. I mean, I'd like that job title. But no, the company says that they're not just doing it for the sake of science or for fun, but they really believe that reintroducing these animals will help the environment overall and just kind of bring back some normalcy to a lot of these environments that have been hurt by, disasters or deforestation and all these different things. They don't they don't lay out exactly how that helps, but that is their reasoning behind it. I think they just want to do it because they can, but that's my personal opinion.
Is anyone asking these animals if they want to come back to this world? I mean, come on. Hello. Has anyone thought about this? Maybe they show up and they're like, this is not how we left it. I don't want to be here.
The tiger,
what happened here?
The tiger went extinct in the 30s because of unregulated hunting. So the 1930s. So that one, that's pretty recent. The dodo was like in the 1800s. That went out. It wasn't for hunting reasons. I think it was natural reasons. The woolly mammoth, who knows, the Ice Age? I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah. And I don't have I guess there's no, I don't see any ethical qualms because it's not like they're using DNA sequencing. They're not like inventing the sequencing. Like I'm assuming they have some sort of like fossilized portion of these animals that they're using for to create the DNA. So that it's not like in the later Jurassic World movies where they make these hybrid monster dinosaurs. It's like they're actually taking like God's design and just sort of, reintroducing it to the environment. I don't see like any ethical issues with it, but I do wonder where what the long-term implications are. Like what happens after the woolly mammoth? Like how far back are they going here,
And where's the woolly mammoth going to roam? I mean, it's like, what
Siberia? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing that I'm like, I don't get like what the end game is. But you're right. I mean, these were creatures that existed. Now, they aren't going to be exact replicas. I read the piece that we posted. They're not going to be exact DNA replicas. They're going to be hybrids because they can only do some of the DNA from the actual animal. They have to like fill in the gaps with similar animals. So like the dodo will have other bird DNA in it. The woolly mammoth will have, like be gestated inside of an elephant. Yeah. Womb,
wow.
Things like that. So they're going to have like similar. So it's not going to be an exact replica. And the other thing that the piece mentioned is that they don't know, scientists don't know how these animals are going to act. Like, we don't have any footage of a woolly mammoth or a dodo bird, so we don't know if these hybrid recreations are going to act like the original. So they're talking about the positive impact it's going to have on the environment, but we might have these weird mutants doing weird things in the environment. So who knows?
Sounds like a win-win.
And it is almost like they're making a new animal. I mean, they're putting, it is not the exact replica. So it is kind of a new animal. And I mean, I'm not in the science world. I don't live for science stuff. Like, it is what it is. But I hear $150 million and I just think about, oh my gosh, look at all the people who live on this earth that could be benefited by $150 million. Exactly. And now we're going to make new animals.
In my mind, it's funny your mind goes there, Jamie. In my mind, like, I might be able to have a woolly mammoth burger in my lifetime. That is, what a time to be alive. Like a woolly mammoth
What
steak.
a time.
What a time.
What a time.
Jesse, do you remember when we went to Somaliland and there was that one restaurant in the main city? There was literally one restaurant and the menu was full of all the illegal meats. Like, you could have tiger, you could eat lion.
Did you eat tiger?
No. I didn't want to
I've never been the same since then, Jamie.
But that would be the restaurant where they have the woolly mammoth burger. You can go back.
But if this company, it's like, look, we're not out here slaughtering the woolly mammoths we brought back. They die eventually, and we chop them up for woolly mammoth steaks. You're telling me you wouldn't be curious? Like,
what's the first restaurant that's gonna carry it? Like, who's gonna carry that first?
It probably tastes like buffalo.
Oh, I love buffalo.
How come we don't eat elephant meat? How come we don't eat elephant meat?
They do in some parts of the world.
Oh, okay. I was like, there's a lot of meat on that animal.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That is anyone thinking? Yeah, or like a dodo bird leg, like a turkey leg. Like, I mean, they sell turkey legs at the carnival.
Dude, dodo birds were fat. They were 50 pounds. So it's like, that's a lot of bird meat right there. That's a big old chicken. That's
a big chicken.
I mean, it's going to get to like, if you could have Stegosaurus one day, like a Stegosaurus burger. I'm just saying, this is what it puts. I don't know why my mind immediately thought of eating the de-extinct animals, but I'm just saying it's only a matter of time.
Is the Flintstones your favorite cartoon? Because the big old Stegosaurus burgers and stuff.
Kind of indifferent. I have a Flintstone steak. Okay. It's like based on the Honeymooners, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just the Honeymooners set in the Stone Age.
Yeah.
I never liked those shows where like the setting or time period is like an adjacent joke to the plot. Like that 70s show or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, just set it. And it's like, I don't need the dinosaur jokes and I didn't need the 70s.
So you're not a big
jokes.
Happy Days person.
I actually do like Happy Days. That's the
exception.
That's unassailable.
So what's the line then?
Current times. Like sitcoms should just be.
Wait, you don't like period pieces at all? Like Downton Abbey or anything like that?
Certainly not Downton Abbey. The answer is no.
Your face gave that one away.
I mean, if it's like a cool like sword and sandal movie, but I wouldn't watch a sword and sandal.
What about like an old gangster movie,
sitcom?
like the Al Capone era or Prohibition and stuff?
The thing is, like, if it's depicting that era for like narrative reasons, it's fine.
Okay.
Right. But if it's a sitcom, a situational comedy, I don't like just like let the material be about the situation and the relationships or whatever, not like, hey, we got to throw in a zoot suit joke because this is a Prohibition era.
So you don't like
comedy.
Character comedies, character-driven narratives set in other time periods.
Correct.
If it's another time period, it has to be about the time period. The narrative arcs are about
like
the time.
Have a reason that we're in that time period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you're like the early Yellowstone prequel or something. It's like you're telling the story, the origin story of settlers in that area and their struggle with the indigenous people and all that kind of stuff. The story is the place and time. You're okay with that. Gotcha.
Exactly. But like the Flintstones could just be Barney and Fred and Wilma and what was the other?
Good job.
Betty.
Oh, yeah.
Like if
Barney,
they were just...
Betty.
If they were just a couple that lived next door to each other, having misadventures, and it, like instead of going to like a fake dinosaur bowling alley, just have them go bowling. Like, there's no point for this. Okay, it was just a time period.
This is a hot
where exactly, but it was the same time period for like cartoons. They just did regular network sitcoms, like in the future or in the past or something.
Hanna-Barbera, man.
And then regular sitcoms were like, hey, it's a family sitcom, except they have a robot daughter or a furry alien that eats cats lives with the family. There's a Sasquatch that lives in the backyard. It's like Just give me the family comedy. I don't need a mythical creature just randomly thrown into the mix.
You don't like Harry and the Hendersons? That was.
Oh, that was classic.
Wait, were
Let me
you
ask
talking
this,
about
Cameron.
Alf? Were you talking about Alf or Harry and the
I was
Hendersons?
referring to
Cats.
both.
Yeah.
I was referring to both.
Gotcha.
But let me ask you this, Cameron.
Yeah.
You act for some reason just shocked that I am not a Harry and the Hendersons fan. I don't have you. When's the last time you watched it? If you can tell me it holds up, I'm almost to the point of daring you to watch some clips on YouTube.
It would have been 20 years ago, but
when it came out.
But the idea that it's not just like Alf, where like he's like one of the kids that just lives there. Like Harry and the Hendersons was the whole thing of like hiding Harry. Harry becomes part of the family. It wasn't just like a random plot point. It was like the whole point, right? Alf, he was a plot point. Alf was just a mischievous kid. Alien kid.
I just feel like Sasquatch comedy has higher ambitions than Harry and the Hendersons. You ever watch the Jack Link commercials where the Bigfoot comes out of nowhere? Now that's Sasquatch comedy. Okay. That is funny. Harry and the Hendersons, he's just like another family member that just happens to be a Sasquatch that they have to hide in the treehouse. Like in my mind, it just doesn't work.
It's like Dennis the Menace, but in a costume.
Exactly. It's like Steve Urkel, except Steve Urkel happens to be a Sasquatch that lives in the treehouse. Like that was the dynamic. It was like this awkward little, sort of social pariah.
I would watch a nerdy Sasquatch that comes over and has a crush on my daughter. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Gosh.
I'm going to pass.
I feel like that's how it feels sometimes when you have a daughter. It's like a Sasquatch coming over to talk to your kids.
All right, what else do you have, Emily?
I have another sort of sciencey topic I want to talk about. And we've talked a lot about ChatGPT and just kind of the different capabilities it has, but there is one metaverse company called Somnium Space, and they've announced that they're planning to use ChatGPT to create what they call the Live Forever mode, which would allow people to essentially talk to dead people, like dead relatives and dead friends.
So explain a little bit more about what they're doing. Like you record yourself to
right.
save
So you
yourself
record yourself,
for all
you
time?
upload like yourself talking, your mannerisms, things like that. And it just kind of lives on this metaverse. And then when you die, you can still come back as an online avatar. So like if I were to die, y'all could still talk to me, and it would be like the AI would know me well enough to respond as I would and sound like I would.
So like I could do this for former employees. Like we record Tyler a whole bunch and then we upload it, and then the AI just keeps Tyler going and the listeners don't know the difference.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
I mean, I would listen to a pod. Like, but why even stop with former employees? Why not say, hey, guess what? We have Steve Martin on today. And just to have AI Steve. Well, why not just make
because you could upload a lot of Steve Martin footage.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And what if I have like 6 different versions of Steve Martin and I just have a podcast where it's fake Steve Martins talking about stuff or whatever, like,
talking to each other.
Because it doesn't have to be dead people.
That came out a couple days ago where like the AI was doing deep fake celebrity voice stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it like, I didn't read it, but it, like I saw the headline, like it got into trouble with that. I forget what it was, but this metaverse company is specifically trying to do it to keep your family alive or the memories of your family, or you can live on and talk to your future generations through AI, basically.
Yeah, I was going to say this to me makes like at first I was like, no, this is terrible. I can't even I would never do this. But then I was like, okay, what if I got super sick and I knew that I was going to die? Like, I think I would do this for my kids. And I don't know if they would think that was weird or not, but I feel like I would want, it's like, in the old days, like you see that people are like, I'm going to make a video for my kids so they can watch it forever. Well, this is like, I'm going to let them talk to me forever, which is weird. And I don't know, maybe it's too much.
I would be hesitant though, just because, I mean, the AI technology is very advanced and it is very impressive, but I would be nervous to just almost like hand off my opinions to some, because then it's like, I don't want there to be a record of me saying something. I actually wouldn't have said that, or I wouldn't have told you that or something. I don't know. It's a tricky thing.
It's a lot.
Yeah. I get the sentimental appeal to it though.
It doesn't seem unethical, but it seems potentially unhealthy. Like I can't imagine like in the grieving process, interacting with a fake version of a loved one it doesn't seem like that's something that's really going to bring the closure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it just the whole idea of closure is coming to terms with the fact that someone in your life is no longer there.
Right. It's like,
you know,
it's that Black
Mhm.
Mirror where she had her husband upstairs in the attic.
Exactly.
Didn't help her with closure. It didn't work out too well for her. So
You know what
it
this
rarely
is?
does.
This is relational porn. It's a facsimile of the real thing, or facsimile of intimacy in the porn case. And it messes with you. It changes you, right? I mean, people,
Yeah.
right? Like this facsimile could be really harmful to people. That's really
Mhm.
interesting.
and it also is like playing God. I mean, we talk about this a lot, but it's like playing God because like
Yeah.
we're born and we die, and that's how humanity lives. And then as Christians, we believe that there's like an afterlife and we get to be with God for eternity. But if you're still having people, like you said, Jesse, that there's no grief and there's no end. And so there's this like never ending life. Potentially it could feel that way. It's false, like you said, Cameron.
Yeah, but we watch movies, right? And in this era, a movie is a one-directional experience. It's like we watch and take what it says. But in the future, if movies are more interactive, like fast forward 50 years, like maybe entertainment is totally revolutionized, and they can't even wrap their heads around the idea that we sat here for 100 years watching something, and they interact with the thing, and stories are alive, and actors, it's a dynamic experience. And so then in their minds, you know, and this isn't a VR metaverse situation. So you're sitting in the room, and you're sitting in your grandma's living room, talking to her, interacting with her. You're aware that this is a facsimile, but it's like you're immersed in this movie or this alternate world. I think it'll become very commonplace, and that grandma as an avatar is no different than your live friend who's an avatar. I think it'll become like we're just used to the avatar interaction in the future. You know.
Yeah, I think, but I think the thing is, versus like interacting with like a hologram that has like scripted responses or something, it's like AI is making decisions.
No, right.
There's
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
series of if-then statements
Right.
that ultimately comes down to judgment, right, and
Right.
discernment.
Yeah.
And like that's where I think there's, you know, a differentiation of like it's actually thinking for itself, not regurgitating,
Right.
like just where the humanity of the decision making is totally stripped from it, though.
Yeah.
You know.
But the idea, I just think this is going to become commonplace. I think 25 years from now, they're going to laugh at how rudimentary we were. And, you know, we looked at flat pictures of relatives, and they can bring them, quote unquote, to life and interact with them and remember their nuances and their humor and their verbal tics and their mannerisms. And it's like, you looked at a picture, like we kind of like laugh at like people sat around the radio in the 30s, you know,
Yeah.
like, you know, now it's like, imagine if they could see what we see. I don't know that I don't know that this will become weird. I don't know that anybody will think this is an odd thing. It's just you create characters in your virtual life, and why not base some of them on real people? You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the Black Mirror episode is like a good.
Yeah, that
I mean,
show.
like-
How did that show?
They've nailed it. every
Nailed
time.
it so many times.
And it's a night, and it ends with a nightmare every time.
Yeah.
You know?
And they're coming out with a
Like,
new season, which is terrifying because that means that there's
I know.
new nightmares.
That we haven't
Yeah.
even thought of yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they have.
Yeah.
I mean, think about like 10 years ago when we were watching that, we were like, yeah, whatever, science fiction,
Mhm.
that'll never happen. And now we're living in the world where it's
Right.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm very curious to see what they're going to come up with next, because
Right.
they've been right so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah. They got to be careful what they put out there.
But it's interesting too, because even like if you rewind 8-10 years, Cameron, the big conversation was, where is the like, if in a lab or through technology you can basically recreate the function of like organic biology, like
Mhm.
an artificial limb or like an organ or something like that, like or like you can enhance like biological organic beings through technology with like nano particles that are injectable. The big conversation was the merger of the artificial and the organic, where now it's kind of even gone to like the level of like, well, what is consciousness, and what is like human thought, and what is the difference between human thought and artificial intelligent thought? If you look at our brains, it's circuits firing and synapses receiving signals and processing based on memories, which are stored in different parts of the brain and create different electrical reactions. like I said, 10 years ago, it was all about sort of like the physical, where now I feel like it's come to, well, can we just simulate consciousness, and what are the sort of ethical and even like spiritual concerns, the implications?
I mean, the biological is still moving forward. I mean, think about a month ago, we talked about the news about that baby farm that's being worked on in Germany, where you can pick the traits of your child and they will gestate it in a artificial womb and give you your designer baby. And you can choose its height and its intelligence and its humor and its all that stuff. And then you're right, now it's going to be a question of consciousness. And,
yeah,
you know, what was it? A few weeks ago, they said, one of the AI guys said that consciousness is it being able to envision a future for itself or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think like it's left the building, you know, and like the what is it? The worms out of the, what, you know, like there's no putting it back in the box, right? I mean, it's out there, it's happening. It's going to change the world. It's going to change our lives. It's going to change how we interact with other humans and what is human and what is consciousness. You know, it's going to move fast.
We're all in a place where we're soon going to be Michael Scott delivering gift baskets just to prove that we're better than technology. Like at some level, we're all going to have that internal conflict, you know, that it's us versus the machines, you know, to prove our humanity and our worth.
It's almost like down the road, it's like, yeah, my kid may be ugly, but at least my kid's real and I didn't order him from Germany, you know? Like, it's like there's going to be like the bio people versus the tech people, you know? Like,
oh, gosh.
I'm analog.
You're literally describing the plot of the film Megan that's out in theaters.
Gosh.
Remember that little robot girl?
Yes.
I never saw it. I don't watch horror movies, but all right. What else you have?
The last thing I just want to mention is right now there's a lot of announcements about new shows coming out, reboots, cancellations even, and we're covering a lot of those over at Relevant. But one thing that I do really want to mention that I didn't realize I was so excited about until I thought about it, King of the Hill's coming back to Hulu. Did y'all watch King of the Hill?
Yeah, of course.
I've never seen
Mike
it.
Judge, right?
Yeah, right after The Simpsons came on.
Yeah. It's
Great.
one that I don't think about as like, I really enjoy it. And then I watch an episode or clips and I remember it is very funny.
So good.
But what's interesting is they do talk a lot about faith. Because we included a lot of clips. And I want to just share one, in case you've never seen it, I just want to give you a little taste of, you should start watching it so that you can be ready for the reboot. So Jason, can you play the clip?
Would anybody mind if I said grace tonight?
Sure, Bobby.
I want to give a shout out to the man who makes it all happen. Props be to you for this most bountiful meal that sits before us. Okay, check it. You represent these vegetables and in this napkin and in the dirt that grows the grain that makes the garlic breadsticks that are on this table today. Yes.
Okay, Bobby. God appreciates the support, but I'm sure he wouldn't want the pot roast to get cold. Now let's wrap it up.
Sure thing. Thanks, J-Man. Peace.
You know, the great thing about Mike Judge, who is the kind of the mastermind behind King of the Hill, but also, you know, Idiocracy, if you guys seen Idiocracy, Office Space, Silicon Valley, you know, he has like a really astute way of pointing things out in society and culture that is funny, relatable, but avoids being mean-spirited. Like you never felt like his commentary about faith, or like in that clip, they're not making fun of someone like Bobby trying to take a casual approach to prayer. You know what I mean? Like you don't feel like it's at the expense of prayer or faith. You just feel like, hey, there are, you know, segments of the country that talk and act in a certain way, and to have like this good-natured look at it sometimes just really is funny and amusing. And I feel like a lot of his, same thing with like, you know, you could take a Silicon Valley, all these kind of tech bros, but really not really making fun of them or kind of that startup culture, but really kind of using them as an entry point to just showcase the humanity of different kind of communities and relationship dynamics. And
speaking about, or calling back to the AI conversation, I read today, we posted today, that Futurama is coming back. On Hulu as well. King of the Hill and Futurama are both getting rebooted with the original cast members, the original writers, the original voice actors. So Futurama, I mean, the robot, I mean, it's AI. He's thinking for himself. That's
true.
A look at our future, man. Futurama.
It's basically a Black Mirror episode. That's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. We're going to have people with one eye because they want one really big eye, instead of two little eyes.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know,
You can just order it from Germany. You can order it from Germany. I want a mega eye.
Literally, it cuts the prices of glasses in half. You just order one big lens.
You just need a monocle. That's all you need. Anyway. All right. That'll do it for Relevant Buzz. We've been covering a lot of stuff lately at the website. There's been some, hey, I don't know if you guys have noticed, people have been reading this for a long time, but there's been an evolution in the daily content. You should go check it out. Look a little closer if you haven't seen it lately. Head over to relevantmagazine.com. All right. Thanks, Emily. Okay. Stay tuned. Up next, Brian Johnson joins us.
She said, do you want to talk? Do you want to talk? Do you want to talk? I'm not thinking straight. I guess I'm gonna pay for this. Do you want to talk? Do you want to talk? Do you want to talk? Both my eyes are glazed as I stumble away from you. From you. I don't know what.
You're listening to Circa Waves. The song is Do You Want to Talk? Well, today's show is brought to you in part by NavPress. Many people have a hard time understanding the Bible, and this can lead to feelings of guilt and fear. When questions come up, we try to stifle them, not realizing that asking questions can lead us to a richer understanding of the Bible and who God is. The key is to learn how to ask better questions. In Asking Better Questions of the Bible, Marty Solomon provides a resource to help you start asking the right kind of questions. Delve into the historical Jewish context of the Bible and acquire tools to help you keep learning on your own. In the process, you'll obtain a deeper understanding of God's Word and learn to trust Him more. Use code BetterQuestions25 at navpress.com to save 25% off your copy today. Again, go to navpress.com and use code BetterQuestions25 to save 25% off this new book. Well, our guest today is Brian Johnson. He's a singer, songwriter, and worship leader who's been with Bethel Music for over a decade now. He sat down with Emily to discuss Bethel's upcoming album, Come Up Here, as well as what we can expect from the future of Bethel Music. Here's our conversation with Brian Johnson.
In the presence of my enemies, I raise a hallelujah.
Where did this album, like, how did it get started?
The idea and how to film it, where we're going to film it, was all Jen's idea. And it was like probably 4 years ago. You're always thinking next album, you look at the year schedule, and it's like 4 years ago. She's like, I'd love to go do an album in the Redwoods. Her family owns a bunch of the Redwood Forest by Fortuna, Eureka, California, northern coast. And she's like, I'd love to, that's where she grew up. She's like, I'd love to do a album shot in the Redwoods, And of course, that's a huge undertaking. And at the time, it just, for whatever reasons, it just didn't work. And so, but it did this time. And the undertaking, it rained nonstop, like until we recorded. And for 2 days, it didn't rain and we got to shoot it. It's crazy, kind of a miracle, actually. So all her idea.
Oh, through every season, you've been my strength, and with all my heart, all
I feel like the last time she and I spoke, she kind of mentioned that Bethel was sort of not changing their approach to worship, but they were just kind of stripping it back a little bit. And I think she's used the phrase like getting back to the basics. So is that what this album is like that shift?
I think the heart is, but the production's very much not. The production's very big, very huge, lots of production. You'll hear it.
Yeah.
But the heart for sure is, it's simple in that it's real focused on, we're not trying to address all the problems and culture and the whole thing, none of that. It's basically real simple, and it's just like, all right, God's the same. We're going to magnify Him. We're going to sing about Him. We're going to sing to Him, and that's it. And so the songs are just about the beauty of God. And Revelations 4, it's real simple. It says, "Come up here, and I will show you basically what to do. I'll show you my mindset." And so that's hopefully what the album portrays, but that's the heart of the album. Getting above all the noise, getting above all the distractions, and just, I think we go through life and we try on for size like every heart posture there is, and then we kind of realize in the end none of that works, and then you realize, wait a second, there's something to just like turning everything in life into praise and thanksgiving, and just giving it back to God and trust and surrender. And that's the one heart posture that actually you can wake up in the next morning and be like, I feel good, I feel like connected to God, So anyways, that was a lot just there, but that's kind of the everyone in our world's been through so much, and a lot of it people don't know about, our let's call it movement. So much crazy stuff. It's like wild. So it's kind of like almost not a returning, but just a return focus. Maybe that's a better way of saying it.
So like, what would you say to someone who, they think like, oh, I'm only going to do things that make me happy, and if it's not happy, I'm going to cut it off. Like, how do you navigate that?
I mean, it's just basic nature. Okay, let's talk about working out. If you want to get in shape or you want to grow your muscles, you have to atrophy your body, atrophy those muscles to the point that they hurt, and then heal, hurt, heal, hurt, heal, hurt, heal. There has to be death for there to be life. Jesus died to self. He died on the cross. Why? So that there could be life. I think realizing that the disciplines that bring the real fulfillment in life are usually a bit painful. And so if we're connecting pain is not happiness, pain is not fulfilling, then we're going to miss out on 99% of what we're meant to be here on this earth for. And so, and that goes with relationships. If that relationship is too painful for me, I'm going to cut it out of my life. And it's like, actually, maybe there's something in that relationship that's meant to help you with you become who you're supposed to be, Mm-hmm. For me, like, I mean, I can't get into detail, but like, even just relationally, it's just like, I'm definitely the kind of person that's like, I will just like naturally want to just cut you off, like cut you off. And one of the biggest things with like therapy or my counselor is like, you can't do that. Even though you're right, and the other person may be wrong, you can't do that. You've got to communicate through it. You can't just shut down and just cut them off. It is so easier said than done, right? It's like, oh man. But then there is a point where it's like, I do think that like everyone's story is different. And there is a point where it's just like, there is, if it's an abusive situation or whatever, that's like there's some parameters that, are a little different. But most of what we consider as, I can't do this anymore is maybe you can. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can hang on. Maybe you can learn to communicate better. Maybe you can have a mediator. Maybe you can get up and read your Bible. I mean, let's be real. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like if I don't read my Bible, and it's not religion. I hate religion. I hate tradition. Even I'm a rules. I hate rules. But like my connection with God and even the peace that it brings, the Holy Spirit speaking the daily or the every other day. If I don't get up and read my Bible, Jen and I have this new thing at home. We get up early and we read our Bibles by the fireplace. She makes the coffee, I make the fire, And it's a country song, right? And we get up and we read our Bibles for like 30 to 45 minutes, sometimes an hour. I try to every morning. And it does something. It does something to our relationship, how we deal with stress. I don't say it's a fix-all, but it's kind of a fix-all. And I mean, my dad back in the day, like people would come in for counseling and he says, okay, I don't even want to meet with you He's like, are you reading your Bible? No. He's like, okay, read your Bible for a week and then we'll meet. Which is so old school, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying personally, like, there's something for Jen and I, like, if we're not doing that, like, everything starts to go wrong. It's kind of crazy.
Jesus Christ, my living hope.
Who could imagine? So
That was Brian Johnson. Make sure to grab their upcoming album. It's called Come Up Here. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's your feedback.
It was a tragedy with icing. And we about escaped our presents were met with a silver lining. The playbook's gone and I really don't care which part of me is dying. Just put one foot in front of the other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I ain't gonna hold you to what you say.
You're listening to Cautious Clay. The song is Burning Up Slow. Well, today's show is brought to you by the Wingfeather Saga. All right, at the risk of beating a dead horse, or a toothy cow, if you've been watching the show, you get that reference. We're going to once again recommend, go watch the Wingfeather Saga, a new animated fantasy series from Angel Studios, the studio behind The Chosen. Now, I don't want to give any spoilers, but I will say it's great. There are sea dragons, lizard people called fangs, and the absolutely most adorable yet terrifying creature called the Squeblin. Might be my favorite part of episode 3, not going to lie. The show has just as unique a world like the most recent Rings of Power or The Witcher, but it's for the full family. The Wingfeather Saga could be the next Harry Potter, Chronicles of Narnia, or Lord of the Rings. The story is captivating. The characters are interesting. It's exciting, sometimes a little scary, but underneath it all runs the undercurrent of family togetherness, and that if you stick together, you can overcome anything. They're hoping to do 7 seasons, all funded by the support of the fans. So there's a lot to come. You need to watch it. If you have kids to sit down with, watch it. If you don't, watch it. Just watch it. And maybe best of all, it's totally free to watch. All you have to do is download the Angel app on your TV or phone, or visit angel.com/wingfeather. Trust me, you'll be glad you did. Go check out the Wingfeather Saga. It's really good. Okay, it's time for your feedback. Last week, we got talking about the story. This was like the biggest story on Relevant in like months. It was a story of a priest who says that he temporarily died, and while he was temporarily dead, he went to hell. A priest that went to hell, and he looked around. And he was describing all the stuff he saw, and he said there was a music room in hell where the demons were playing, or a cover band of demons were playing Bobby McFerrin's "Don't Worry, Be Happy" and Rihanna's "Umbrella" in a really bad rendition to torture people. Right?
This is a true story.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
it's at relevantmagazine.com.
no, I mean, true as in someone actually said this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that he
Wow, I
he
missed
died.
this, guys.
He came back to life. He's a priest, and he was like, "God, why am I in hell?" And he's like, "Because you held unforgiveness in your heart about my people that I love." All this stuff. Yeah. It was this whole thing. But what caught our eye is that he said that they play Rihanna covers in hell. So
This is
Yeah,
right
but
before the Super Bowl,
important-
mind you, that he's ministering to his people. There you go.
But it's important to note these are covers. These are
demon covers.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so we posted the site. It's blown up. It's our biggest story in a long time. But anyway, we asked you, what would be your personal hell?
Oh, wow.
Keep it light. That's what we wanted to keep it light. We don't actually. But anyway, you hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast and told us what your personal hell would be.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, this is from Anna. Being stuck at the dentist, getting cavities filled while Garth Brooks plays on an endless loop. I recently had some dental work done. And it was about a 3-hour ordeal. I mean, and it was terrible. You know, the worst part about the dentist is not just sitting in the chair. It's not them tinkering around. You just feel so unhuman that you have like the dentist and the hygienist. It's like they're working over the hood of a car, just having a conversation as if there's not a third human that is inches from their faces. Okay.
What's worse is when they try to talk to you and they have like all the tools in your mouth.
Yeah. You have a good Christmas?
Don't move. Don't move.
Yeah. No, but they were like the last time I was there, like the dentist and the dental hygienist were going back and forth about office drama, right? But like I said, you would have thought they were just working on like making a pizza together. Not that there's a literal another human being just
Sitting there.
right in their face. And I'm like, man, Kathy is in a bit of a pickle after the Christmas party incident, it sounds like. But I didn't get my, I just had to take it all in.
It's like the dentist. If you book an Uber these days, they ask you a question like, do you want to talk to them? Do you want to be in silence? I think when you book appointments, like the dentist, they should ask you, do you want the hygienist to talk to you? And you get to say,
Yes.
not today. It's not a good day. I'd rather just lay here. So then no one
Same
feels
thing
awkward.
with haircuts.
Okay,
thing with
same
haircuts.
everywhere you go, you should be able to fill out a little form. Do you want to talk? No, I don't. Thank you. And then no one feels bad.
Yeah.
See, but I think, Jesse, you would click.
Idea.
Jesse,
Please
you would
talk to
always
me.
hit that you want to talk, though.
I mean, I'll be honest, I was entertained while I
Yeah.
was getting it. I mean, if it's just there or sitting inside, just listening to the sound of them drilling
Earthquakes.
out cavities, like, sure, I would rather them gossip in front of me. I think I would choose that.
Trying to remember, it was like during the pandemic, I saw a company that made, because like work culture changed and interactions changed and stuff. And the company made like a thing of like for your parties or whatever gatherings of like 4 different cups. And like one color cup means, yeah, I want to chit chat. Come talk to me.
Yeah.
One cup was don't bother me. One cup was,
Mhm.
do you remember that? I'm trying to remember exactly
Yeah.
what it was. But
Yeah, there's like a
that's
color system almost. or
a color
something,
system of like, yes, please
Seems
come
very
talk to me.
passive aggressive, extremely passive aggressive to me. Like it just say, hey man, I'm just kind of chilling right now. We're good. It's fine. I'm not offended.
But you're
We're
talking
not
about it.
jacked.
You wanted at the
I was
dentist.
saying, coming out of the pandemic, everyone, like, no one knew how to socially interact anymore. So you kind of needed like a simple color system to say like, yes, I remember how to socially interact.
Oh,
I
no.
don't
It
remember
was because everybody was scared of being around other people, remember? And it was like, I don't want anybody to approach me. Yes,
it
you
was like a
can
social
approach me.
distancing.
Yes, you can
Oh.
hug me. Please don't hug me. Remember that? That's what it was. It was like reintroducing yourself to other
Yeah.
humans. I am not a person who wants anyone within 6 feet of me. And like you could wear or have something on you that indicated that. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, or you could just say, "Hey, not feeling great. Why don't you guys keep your distance?" Instead of like I remember, I was like in a Sky Mall or something. They had this thing called the Leg Defender, and it was like this thing you could affix to the pull down tray on the back of the airline seat, and it would prevent the seat in front of you from being leaned back.
Oh,
which
gosh.
there's no way that's got to be some kind of safety violation.
I totally
but anyway,
remember.
Yes.
but
It's
it
amazing.
also came with a business card that you were supposed to hand to the person. You're supposed to attach the seat defender before takeoff, when you're allowed to put your tray table down. And then in order to avoid the awkward thing of the person trying to recline their seat and realizing it's not working because you've prevented it to with the seat defender, you were supposed to hand them a business card that comes with the seat defender that says, "Hello, I'm using a seat defender. You're going to be unable to recline for the rest of your flight. I need my leg room." Could you imagine if someone handed you that card?
I'd be so mad. I'd be like, no,
I'd be like, "Are you insane?"
take your seat defender off. I'm
And
reclining.
why wouldn't you just
I
talk
paid
to?
for this
Why wouldn't you
ticket.
just say, "Hey, look, I got bad knees. I really got to protect my legs here." Like the passive aggressive business card thing was just shocking to me, and I wanted to see it used just one time in the wild to see what would happen.
Paul Casper says his personal hell would be folding T-shirts where the laundry basket never empties.
Mm.
The designs on the shirts are all objectively terrible. An off-key elevator music version of Dirty Laundry is on an infinite loop. And each shirt carries a light but horrible scent. Burnt hair, vomit, wet dog, etc.
Gross. Oh my
Ugh.
gosh.
That's a very specific
That's
hell.
dirty laundry. That
That-
is really.
It's like Sisyphus,
Yeah.
like that Greek
Yeah.
guy who has to roll the stone up the hill over and
Oh,
over,
gosh.
except with
Yeah.
laundry.
Brett Callen, along those lines, says his personal hell would be your video will play after the ad, but the ad is forever.
forever.
That is the worst. I hate when like Hulu will put the little clock down there. And you're like,
watch it
90
tick.
seconds? What am I
Yes.
going to do? I don't even know if I want to watch Only Murders in the Middle
There you go.
anymore.
Micah Harris said this, and this would be mine. So Micah plus Jamie, here it is. 100 plus people making various noises with their mouths, chewing, popping gum, slurping noodles, loud smacking of any food. I am done. I cannot handle it. Eating at my house sometimes with my children, we're having soup. They tell me that they're supposed to slurp, and I say, no, watch me. I don't slurp. I eat soup without slurping, you guys. It can happen. Don't sit next to me in a movie. If you're smacking nope, you have to get to a different seat. I can't sit by you. That is my personal hell.
You know what would be the worst is 100 people eating bananas, open mouth, and all the bananas are just past ripe. So they're a little soft.
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah.
"Oh,
I can't even handle that when I'm eating the banana. That sound,
imagine
that
100,
bothers me.
100 just past ripe bananas being eaten open mouth.
Evan Penn says his hell would be where he keeps reliving when a girl from his Christian college told him, quote, God is calling her to date me in the girls' dorm lobby while people watch for all of eternity.
Oh, wow.
No. That is a very specific personal
Taking
hell
a very
thing.
awkward moment and just playing it out for all of eternity. That's amazing.
Hey, it could have been worse. She could have said, God's calling me not to date you, so we need to break
Yeah.
up. I mean, that's got to be worse, you know?
I mean, that's probably, to be in fairness, I don't know how you reacted. It sounds like you're not with this individual. I'd imagine it's that. I imagine it was that girl's personal hell too. Is to have to relive it with you, my dude.
That's true. Yeah. I don't think the story ended with, and kids, that's how I met your mother.
Exactly.
I like Greg's, where he does introduce it with, this is coming from a place of love, but he says his personal hell is being caught in a loop of a church board meeting where the loudest get to dominate the discussion and the meeting ends with no decisions made. And I've been in those church board meetings, and that is the closest I ever want to be to hell.
Feels pretty on the nose. It feels like he's like hoping his pastor listens to this shit.
He drops the
This
name.
is extremely specific.
There's a lot of music ones. There's very specific songs that you guys hate. And
Someone just put the top 40.
That's actually not too bad. You know what I mean? Like that's
I
pretty
think
much
right now the
like,
top 40 is all Taylor Swift, so that actually would be my personal heaven.
I was going to say it's
I'd be
pretty
good
much
with that.
going grocery shopping. It's like walking the aisles of like Wegmans is that experience.
Rael James says his personal hell is spending his days reading conservative Christians and progressive Christians debate theology on Twitter.
Oh, wow.
And you got toothpicks in your eyelids, so you can't look away. It's like there. You have to,
Yeah, I was going to say also very on the nose, and I get it, man. I get it. Yeah.
All right. Well, there's more where that came from. You guys, this is probably one of the biggest replies we've had in a while. You guys have a lot of personal hells. You can look at our replies at Relevant Podcast on Twitter. Okay, it's time for this week's
Editorial question of the week.
Well, we were talking about future stuff, as we have been a lot lately, because future stuff is happening very quickly. But we got us thinking, what is a future thing that you've seen, maybe depicted on TV or movies or whatever, that you want to see happen? Like you want a Rosie the Robot from the Jetsons to kind of do all your house cleaning and cooking, stuff like that. Maybe let's stay away from some of the darker, evil sides of stuff that we've seen. Just keep it light. Just keep it fun.
I'm going to throw one out there. I like because Cameron, you're talking about basically enhanced Zumba, or Roomba or whatever they are. Like the little
Zumba is a dance exercise program.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get a Roomba to do the cleaning so I have time for my Zumba class.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
And
right.
we have a Roomba, and her name is Rosie. Rosie the Roomba.
I want one of those chairs from Wall-E. They kind of glide and they got a
100%.
cooler on the side. And they got a
100%.
straw. Like that was supposed to be cautionary. I'm like, dude, the Wall-E grown-ups,
No
the Wall-E
joke.
people,
They made it look
they
too
got to
cool.
figure it. It's like, no,
They were
it's
like,
pretty
this is
chill,
our
man.
future. I was like, sign me up. That looks
Yeah,
amazing.
great. Just
Didn't
perfect.
Rocky also have a robot that brought him stuff?
Yeah, he gave it to
his trainer. Yeah. Okay, I remember.
Yeah, and they developed kind of a weird relationship too. Like
That was a Black Mirror-esque.
Mickey and the robot. Something weird was going on with Mickey and the robot. Like that. I recently rewatched Rocky IV because it is on Netflix.
That's
I
my
saw it
favorite
the other
one, by
night.
the way.
It's someone did a study and that film is like it's over 40% montage, and that's not an exaggeration. Like there are two extended training montages. At one point in the film, Rocky sprints to the top of a mountain like he mountaineers wearing a leather jacket and jeans, and he gets all the way to the top like a huge mountain washout. That he's being pursued by like Russian gangsters, and to evade them, he climbs straight up cliffhanger style, except he's wearing a brown leather jacket and thick jeans. And by the way, that's how he trains, in a leather jacket and jeans. If anyone thinks I'm exaggerating, and it has the worst funeral speech in any movie in history after Apollo Creed dies, where he dies in the ring. Yeah. Everyone remembers, stop the fight.
Spoiler
Rocky,
alert.
Cut to, I mean, this is like in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Cut to The funeral. It goes from the ring to the funeral. And of course, Rocky is at the podium. He's like, I don't really know what to say. I told him not to take that fight, but he lived like he died. And that's the extent of the speech. And everyone's crying. They're like, this is the worst eulogy I have ever heard. And it was as if Stallone showed up to the set that day and just made up a speech and did it one take and just walked off,
That's
which
probably
I'm pretty
what
certain
happened.
what happened. Yeah.
So you don't want that to be said at your funeral?
I mean, I'll take it if Stallone did it.
I can get AI to do it.
I was going to say, we can make
Yeah,
that
AI Stallone. Yeah. I wouldn't mind a future like Transformers, not the battle alien stuff, but like Bumblebee, where like it's my car, but then also can be my friend. That would be kind of fun. It can go do stuff for me. Like Bumblebee, go, pick up Cohen from school, and he goes. And my big old recliner that just takes me wherever I want to go. My little car friends. It's great.
Living the dream.
And I'm just hanging out with my AI grandma, just shooting the breeze. Future sounds awesome.
This is getting weird.
Anyway, hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast. Tell us something that you've seen, some future thing you've seen that you want to see become reality, and we'll read our favorites on next week's show. Well, before we wrap things up, just want to remind you of a couple things. One, if you like the show, if you're still listening, tell people about it. Post on social, share clips, tweet about it. And wherever you listen, rate it and review it. That helps the algo. We like the feedback. We watch it. Also, if you want to get an ad-free version of this podcast, you can. It's part of Relevant Plus, the best way to experience the content we create. Not only do you get an ad-free version of this podcast, you get ad-free unlimited reading at relevantmagazine.com. You get an exclusive subscriber podcast each week, and you get a beautifully designed ad-free enhanced edition of our quarterly digital magazine, plus a lot more stuff coming this year. We have some stuff in the pipeline you don't want to miss. Relevant Plus, you can find out all the information right there at the website at relevantmagazine.com. Just click on the Relevant Plus tab. Plans start as low as $250 a month. Okay, on that note, we'll wrap it. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Jamie Ivey.
And I'm Emily Brown.
All right, we will see you on Tuesday. We have a special guest sitting in. You don't want to miss it. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
I might be able to have a woolly mammoth burger in my lifetime.
Relevant Podcast Network.